Welcome, this is Diego Accord here doing a live action video for once. So, I'm going to be talking about gaming and what I'm going to be doing because this is now the gaming season, or it's been for a while. And, you know, cars are done. I actually was able to take out the car like yesterday. It was close to 70 or something like. It's been really warm lately. New Year's week, just loving that. So it's the best. But I'm gonna, go over my setup right now as well as some talking about some stuff. So this is the setup here. A couple of physical games. The daily driver laptop there. PS5. Got a Dreamcast. Acer monitor fires. Acer monitor, problems. At Series X, and then the PC. So all of these consoles, both consoles and the PC, are hooked up to this monitor, which is 4K 60. And the reason that it's 60 hertz, I'm not worried about higher, is because even with this, I'm not gonna play games that can reach more than 60 hertz. I'm gonna play the games at 4K, and I'm also going to turn everything up. Any game that I have on here, max everything. Like, there's no reason that I wouldn't. If I'm not gonna max everything out, then I would play the game on here or here, which there are some games that I do have on PS5 or Series X that I could have on PC, but maxing those games out is not really that important. But when it is important, that's what this PC is for. I don't play shooters, nothing competitive, and I don't care about frame rate enough to take that, to take it down. Like I said, if I wanted to make compromises, I would play the game on consoles, which again I do in some cases. So now this Logitech K400 Plus is what I've used since I got this this PC. It was originally a pre-built that I bought in literally 2 years ago, a couple days after Christmas in 2019. It was a pre-built from Micro Center with a 2070 Super and 3700X ASRock board. Everything's been changed. So it's a new motherboard. It was an ASRock board. Got a Strix in here, and the board was a X570, the original one, as this is as well. So it's kind of like didn't need to do it, but since I upgraded everything else, and the AIO is different, the RAM is also different, graphics, of course, different. All the case fans are different. The only thing that's actually the same, I did keep the same power supply in the same case. So everything is different in here. And this is not even the first upgrade. I had a 3080 before Cyberpunk came out, with the intentions of being able to play that game at max. So that's why I originally upgraded it, and then I decided to do everything else, because it was 2020, COVID had started at the beginning of that year, and there wasn't really anything else to do. Like, wasn't gonna be able to go back to Japan or anything like that, take a vacation. So any extra money I could just spend on the computer doing stupid shit like X570 ASRock to X570 Asus. Do have this. This is a membrane, and I just got it because it was RGB to match, everything else in here, and as well as the mouse. I don't game on mouse and keyboard. I fucking hate the idea of even doing that. I play with one of these fellas right here. So all my gaming is done on controller. That's how it is. So this keyboard now is actually connected to the Xbox, but unfortunately, you can't use it for browsing. So it's kind of useless. But right now, I don't have anything else to plug into the USB port, so it can stay there for now. The daily laptop, look at all that power. AMD A6. I got it around the same time. I got it for Black Friday in 2019. This thing is pretty weak. I think it can play Fallout 3. And I know it can load Skyrim because that was the first game, I actually got a Steam account set up a couple days. Like, I got this PC or this laptop a couple days before I bought the gaming PC. And I actually wanted to see if Skyrim will run on this. So I put Skyrim on this first initially, but it was all right. So now we got our physical games. So I don't keep games typically beyond a generation, and and as that generation passes, I get rid of games. So these are what I have left from Xbox One. I mean, Resident Evil Village and Mass Effect Legendary are, Series X purchases, but of course they work on Xbox One. And those games I could have gotten on PC, but like I really don't care. And if I'm gonna buy a game when it's new for $60, I'm gonna get it on console so I can have a disc and a case to show for that purchase. I've only bought a couple games on PC, and the only one that cost $60 was Cyberpunk, because you really couldn't play that on console, even though I do have it on both consoles, but whatever. So anyway, these are the few 360 games that are BC, so I kept those around. These, I've played these on the One X that I had. I don't think I played any of these except for Fable 2. Fable 2, I don't need the disc. I actually don't need the disc for any of these games except for Midnight Club, because Skate 3 is on EA Play. Saints Row 2, they gave away for games with gold, so I actually have that without the disc. Kingdoms of Amalur, Reckoning. I have Re-Reckoning on Xbox, and I actually have that on PlayStation. They gave that away this month on PlayStation, so I have that on both. I bought it on Xbox originally. I think I might have a download of this, of Reckoning as well, that they gave away for free, like probably a long time ago. And of course, Fable 2 and Anniversary are on Game Pass as well, so you don't really need, I don't need the disc for any of these except for Midnight Club. But I do have a bunch of other 360 games that are not BC. They were borrowed to a relative, and it's actually one of those games I really need back, even though I can't play it on the 360. Now, I do have a 360. It is in a different room. Same thing, Switch. I did actually pick the Switch up for my kid a couple years ago. So that is not in this room, but I do have my own games that I have for the Switch, which I keep my personal games here. And, I'll bring the Switch in when I want to play something like I did for Metroid Dread or whatever. So then we go down here. And, and also, like I said, I've had, many more games than this. But, I do get rid of games if it's worth it to get rid of at the time and I know I'm not going to play it again. I get rid of it. Like some of these, there's no reason for me to have some of these games, but they're not worth getting rid of. So therefore, I'm just going to keep it, like Horizon 3, DOA 5. Dragon Age Inquisition, I could be playing that on PC with EA, with Game Pass, with the EA part of that, I'm pretty sure. Tomb Raiders, I think those are on Game Pass. I don't remember, but it's just not really worth getting rid of these. But, I've recently come to a thought that selling games or trading in games is just not worth it, because you might want that game later for whatever purpose. even if it's not to play, and then you're going to be paying some increased prices on those games. So, and despite what it looks like, there's a few more PlayStation games than Xbox games. I did play Xbox like 80% of the time compared to PlayStation, but it was mainly 2 games, which I'll show down here later. So there's more Xbox games and PS games and all that shit there. So these are the PS4 games I still have. I mean, I got digital games, a couple digital games for each that, you know, they would not release in store or whatnot. But whenever I can get physical, even if the game's not released here physical, I'll do it, which PlayStation is good for that. So like SNK Heroines right here, that did not come out in the US as a physical game. This did not come out here at all. And this right here, this is Megan Arthur, did not come out here physically. And I actually bought this in Japan for 2,000 yen, so about 20 bucks, brand new, like a months after it came out, and the game was still 40 bucks on Steam or PSN, and I think the game is still that, because when people have arguments about digital versus physical, like prices, especially for consoles, so, you know, PC, you can get games cheap as hell, which I still don't even bother doing, because what's the point in having a digital library? Like, oh, I've got 3,000 Steam games that all costed $1.50. Like, so fucking what? Like, you got nothing to show for it except for a screenshot. If you don't have the disc, then fuck the game. So anyway, couple PS5 games. I got Spider-Man and Demon's Souls. I got both of these systems pretty much when they came out. I got the PS4 or PS5 on launch day, and it took until Black Friday to get the Series X that year, 2020. So, of course, I got Spider-Man and Demon's Souls when it came out. I haven't really played much of either. Haven't played much of anything on the system, honestly, at least like actual PS4 games, PS5 games. Like, I've had this thing since launch, and I'm still calling it PS4, just because, like, both of these consoles are mostly dust collectors. And anyway, you know, just these Cyberpunk, this was 10 bucks each, Black Friday, same as Assassin's Creed was 20 bucks for Black Friday, so I went ahead and picked it up. I was always interested in playing that one, but I wasn't going to pay more than that, so they had it, I got it. Cyberpunk, just for collection purposes, because like I said, I got the game on PC with the, you know, 3000 series NVIDIA card, so I mean, like, obviously there's no other way to even bother playing it, in my opinion. So these are just there to collect. Now we get down, and yeah, I got a couple games on same thing, like more digital games I have on everything, like Friday the 13th. You couldn't get that physical when it first came out, but I do have that on everything. Switch, Xbox, PlayStation, PC. Like, you'll see this Street Fighter 30th anniversary collection on PS, and then I also have it here on Switch. GTA 5 on there on Xbox, and then of course I got it on PlayStation, and I do have it on PC when they gave it away from with Epic Games, so got that on everything. There's a couple games I got on everything, but anyway, down here are the Switch titles. The other one that is mine, but I keep in the living room with the Switch, is Smash. So, but Metroid Dread was the game of the year for 2021, in my opinion. I didn't buy too many games this year. What did I buy this year? Guilty Gear was this year. Assassin's Creed was not this year's game, but I did buy it just recently, but it doesn't count. So Guilty Gear, Resident Evil, and Mass Effect were this year. And Dread Those are all I really bought this year that were of the current year. So I'm giving Game of the Year to Dread. And this extra Grand Theft Auto was actually not Grand Theft Auto. Somehow I ended up with an extra Grand Theft Auto case. But my original copy of Fallout 4 on the Xbox One is there. So, other than that, we've got some Fallout games. There's a couple of these games I need to go ahead and collect. So this is every version of Fallout, every physical version of Fallout 4 you can get. So we got a Steelbook, and that's on PS4. We got Xbox One GOTY, Xbox One OG, PS4 GOTY, PS4 OG, and then PC physical. So there is no GOTY on PC that's physical, but of course I do have that on Steam. My most played games on the PC, the reason I built the PC was for Skyrim and Fallout 4, pretty much. So of course I have GOTY, Fallout 4 GOTY on that, and I play that the most. As a matter of fact, here we go, Fallout 4, 300 mods, Skyrim SC, 340, Skyrim LE on PC, 185, New Vegas, and of course I got 3 on here as well, but it doesn't, let me see. Yeah, you gotta do that, so, yep, got all those on PC, of course. Also have Oblivion, which I started, but I run into an issue with mods that's not letting me progress in that game. And I got all the other Scrolls games and all the Fallouts, all of them installed on the PC. I could not play Fallout 1 and 2 though. You can't control it with a controller. I'm not interested in any keyboard games, don't care what it is. So anyway, here we go with this. Yeah, some PS3 games. So I need a copy of Fallout 3 and New Vegas for Xbox, which is something I'm just gonna go after, you know, if I find local at a cheap store or whatever. That's what I need to do, because I mean, that's the system I actually played these games on originally for 3 and Vegas. Played them on Xbox. And I should have copies of them. Like I said, all the other Xbox games that I've got, I do have a few, but like I said, they are supposedly in storage. But if I go try to see if this is all accurate and those games do actually exist, I'm probably gonna find that they don't, just judging, you know, just knowing who is the person that told me this information. So I'm gonna assume that those games really don't exist, although the one game I really want, which is Import Tuner Challenge on Xbox 360, that game is kind of costly now, and I would rather my copy still exist, but I don't trust it. So anyway, Fallout 3 and New Vegas I need for Xbox. Would be better if I could get a Game of the Year edition or the Ultimate Edition for New Vegas here. And of course on Xbox I want the GOTY and the Ultimate Edition on that as well. So I actually took this base Fallout because it has the sleeve on it still, and finding that is just, you know, harder. So I went ahead with that. Like I said, Fallout 4 on everything, and then the other game, Skyrim, on everything. Literally everything. Every version you can buy except for VR on PC and PS4 VR. So we got PC Original, Physical, PC Legendary, Physical, PS3 Original, PS3 Legendary, PS4 Special Edition, PS4 Anniversary, which just came out, Nintendo Switch, 360 Original, 360 Legendary, Xbox One Special Edition, and Xbox Anniversary Edition. So Anniversary Edition will get you some upgrades from, if you put it on a PS5 or a Series X, you'll get some upgrades to the performance and resolution and stuff like that. But, you know, I spent years playing Special Edition on Xbox. I never touched it for PS4 because the mods were lacking. So, you know, you got what I consider there to be 4 levels of modding. So, you know, base Skyrim on consoles and Nintendo Switch, you can't mod. Then the next level up is PS4. They have mods, but they don't really do anything. They're just like cheat mods. You can possibly change the color and the stats and the names of some things and add some trees. I mean, you know, you can't really do the stuff that people really want to do in Skyrim, which is why when people make those, people make posts about Skyrim, and somebody say they're playing it on Xbox, and then somebody says, "Oh, just play it on PS4. It's better." I'm like, how? I literally have all of them. It's the worst way to play the game. It's always been on PlayStation for these Bethesda games. So anyway, the second tier of modding, like I said, was PS4, and then the middle tier of that, there's actually a 2.5, which is a modded Switch. So if you have a modded Switch, you can bring over PC mods if you want, but the problem is having a modded Switch is very hard to do because of the updates, and it has to be like old Switch in order to be able to even consider updating, that somebody has to have not played or connected online for a couple years. So you can do a lot of stuff, but just the difficulty of doing it makes it kind of like, wouldn't be worth really doing it. Same thing with like 360, old hack 360s and stuff, but I mean, those consoles, the 360 and the PS3, barely play this game as it was, so trying to add mods to like a RGH 360 probably is going to be a tall order. But then you got the next level of modding, the third level of modding, which is what you can do on Xbox. Xbox One, Series X, and all that stuff. So, there's a lot of mods. It's just not unlimited like, PC. But you can do a lot. But unfortunately, the drawbacks are you only have 5 gigs in Skyrim, 2 gigs in Fallout, which means for Fallout, you can't really do any textures aside from characters. You can do textures in Skyrim, because also Skyrim has worse base graphics. You don't need to have like 4K textures and stuff to make it look better. You got a bunch of 2K texture mods, which will fit on there. And, a lot of the main things on PC are there, except for anything that has script extender. So, you can make a game that looks completely different, sounds completely different. The only thing you really can't do graphically is the reshade, which is kind of a big deal. That's the difference between making the game, like, it looks better. You play it on Xbox with full mods and everything. It'll definitely look much better than, vanilla or PS4. But reshade, or E&B, is the difference between the game looking, oh yeah, that looks pretty good, versus the game looking like a current generation game. And then, you got script extender, which you can actually, of course, when I got the game on PC, for shits and giggles, I went ahead and put some mods that I know were not on Xbox. I put them on Bethesda, downloaded them for myself to see if they worked, and they literally just work out the box. Script extender mods will even work, except for the problem would be that if you don't have script extender, those mods that use menu, mod menu and all that stuff, you won't be able to change anything in the menu. So it would have to be on the default settings, and if it's a mod that actually you need to go to the menu to activate it or something, then yeah, it's kind of useless still. So, but yeah, you can do a lot on Xbox. Spend a lot of time with it, even mess with it after I got a PC just to see what you really could do, and you can definitely do a lot. But of course, PC is the way to play it, if you have a good PC. Now, this was, more of a collection thing. I'm not gonna play any copy that I got here. The Switch would be the only copy that I'd actually play for any reason. If I'm going to take the Switch with me or something, somewhere, which really, it's not happened. So it's just a collection thing. I want these, like Fallout 4, cheap game. Most versions of Skyrim right now, Switch, still expensive, still like $60. And then anniversary editions are, they just came out, so they're still, they were $50, so on and so forth. But, it's like with these, I just want to get them while they're cheap, relatively cheap, because certain things cost more now. Some things remain cheap always, some things are not. Now, this is the bottom level so far. And this is my Shotoku Battle Collection / Tokyo Extreme Racer is what it's called here. And it's also been called Tokyo Highway Battle. It's also known as Tokyo Highway Battle in Europe for the later games. So this is Shotoku Battle. The whole series started on Super Nintendo or Super Famicom with this one, Shotoku Battle 94. And then you got Shotoku Battle 2. And then on PlayStation, you have Shotoku Battle, and then you have Shotoku Battle R, which will be arriving today. And then that game was released in America as Tokyo Highway Battle, which I had when I was a kid. And I actually didn't know that it was related to Tokyo Extreme Racer that came out on a Dreamcast later. So that is Tokyo Highway Battle. And then this is Shotoku Battle 97 on Saturn. And then we have Tokyo Extreme Racer, which is Shotoku Battle. And then TXR2, Shotoku Battle 2. And Shotoku Battle, or TXR 0, Shotoku Battle 0. And then, of course, 3, which is Shotoku Battle 01. And then we got the Japanese versions here, Shotoku Battle, boom, so on and so forth. And then the PSP game. Actually, this is a repurchase for me. I've owned this game before when I had a PSP back, like when they came out, like 05 or whatever. We had an import store that was a local mom and pop joint, and I knew what the Shotoku Battle logo looked like, and I just saw the game on the shelf with the logo, and I turn it around, and it's cars. I'm like, I'm buying that. Doesn't matter. I'm buying that, because at that time I had all the games that came out, all the Shotoku Battle games. So. And then this one on the 360, Shotoku Battle X. The last game that ever came out in the series. So basically, I've got everything here. What I'm missing is Shotoku Battle R for the PlayStation, which arrives today, should arrive today. And then I'm missing the American version of PSP Shotoku Battle, which is called Street Supremacy. It was released over here by Konami, so they could not name it Tokyo Extreme Racer because that name is for Crave Entertainment. They're the only ones that can, they have the rights to that name. They're the only ones that can release a game named that. And you'll notice that there's games called Tokyo Extreme Racer Drift, and those are actually not Shotoku Battle games. They are called Kaido Battle. They are about doing toge. I don't personally care for those games, and since they are actually not Tokyo Extreme Racer, don't care about having them. So again, just waiting on Battle R to come in today, and then I gotta try to find Street Supremacy, trying not to have to go to eBay to get that game, and then the American version of this Tokyo Extreme Racer X, or Shotoku Battle X, is called Import Tuner Challenge. Like I said, it's a game that I own. I've owned that game a couple times for a few bucks. Now it's about, $50 to $60 to try to buy that game. And, I technically own it now, supposedly in storage with the rest of my 360 games that are not BC. But, like I said, Given who told me where they are, I really don't trust that the games are there. And getting, my copy of Import Tuner Challenge would be the only one I'd really care about getting. But I put the rest of them on the shelf, except for, I got another Skyrim for 360, which I wouldn't need, and a couple other things that I probably don't really need. So, there's that. We got the Nuka Color Quantum, which I've had this since they came out. So if I drank this, I probably would turn into something like Fallout. We got a copy of Rad Racer here. This was the first racing game I ever had, and the fourth game I ever had. So the first game I ever had was Mario Duck Hunt. Second game was Tiger Heli. The third game was Excite Bike. And the fourth game was Rad Racer. I don't know why I know those, but I do know that. I think the fifth game I had was Dr. Mario. So, and then we've got Hard Driving. So the arcade version of this game is pretty fucking amazing. If you had a sit-down deluxe version in your mall or your arcade or whatever, it's a fucking amazing ass game. Home version, not too shabby. This was also the first game that we got on the Genesis, and of course this is not. Neither of these are original copies. So there's that, and then these random Dreamcast games that I just somehow had. I don't know. And I just had them from repurchasing a Dreamcast and random games at the time, which there's the Dreamcast. I do have that. It's not hooked up. I do have all these games on emulation, but I own all of these actual games. So I would just rather play it on that. I can just, use the NVIDIA Shadow Play if I want to stream some Tokyo Extreme Racer, which I actually started to stream. I was going to play all the series, at least the main generation. What generation is that now? 5? Generation 5 games. So like Tokyo Extreme Racer 1, 2, 0, and 3. I was going to play those all in order. It was like right before COVID started. I got somewhere in the middle of the first game. And then COVID started and I just did not want to do it. I mean, there was work from home and stuff like that that had to take place where there would be no privacy, wouldn't be able to talk during the streams or anything like that. Or, I would. It really wouldn't be an issue, but like, I don't like doing things when, the other half is here. Things like this. There's just something like, I don't know. So, anyway, that's it. I said I just need to get the other Fallouts and Elder Scrolls games physical. So just Fallout 3 on PC and Xbox. Same with New Vegas, a PC and Xbox physical copy. Of course, I got them all on the PC digital, but I want physical copies for those. Oblivion for everything. Morrowind for PC and Xbox. And then if 1 and 2, if they can be found like super cheap on eBay. Same thing, with Fallout. Finding 1 and 2 physical copies on eBay, but I haven't even really looked for those because I feel like Oblivion and Morrowind I should be able to find in retro stores like pretty easy and pretty cheap. Even though I did go to a retro store yesterday and did not see any copies of those games. I actually went to 2 retro stores, so maybe I do need to get on eBay, get them before they become somehow like $50 games. Because that's the thing, any way that somebody can make money is, it's gonna happen. They're gonna try to get as much for it as possible. It is what it is. Can't blame them. but it does suck. I mean, Import Tuner Challenge, cheap ass game initially, costs 50 to 60 bucks. And this Japanese version, this costed me 120 bucks to get here. And if I could have gone back to Japan, see, that's the thing. I wasn't even thinking about getting these games when I was there. There was only one game I wanted to get, and it was this, Million Arthur. Or should I say Median Asa? But I didn't think about that. But I also, because I was in Akiba, you know, there were probably some, like for retro stuff, there was some pricing that I'm like, I think Super Famicoms were like 80 bucks. For SNES, and I'm like, Super Nintendo for 80 bucks? I don't care if it came from fucking Japan. It's not an $80 thing to me. And this was in 2019. So I'm like, I can only imagine what they cost now. So, you know, that's part of the reason I did not look. I mean, I went to like stores like Super Potato and stuff like that and just browsed, but like I wasn't even thinking about these games. I was just thinking about stuff like, you know, the Saturn version of X-Men Street Fighter, like those Saturn CPS2 games. And, you know, they were all expensive as fuck. But they always were, because, I mean, I think that shit was like well over 100 bucks when you wanted to try to get it new. And that's when it would have not been worth as much as it is today. Because at one of the retro places I went to yesterday, they had like Marvel superheroes for Saturn. And the shit was like that shit like 160? It was something stupid, like, no way I'd pay that. We just emulate the arcade version. That's still better. So, anyway, that's it. Just want to get a couple more retro games. I mean, I'll buy games when they come out or whatever. Any physical, any like games. If there's no real reason for me to get it on PC or whatever versus the consoles, I'll just get it on console so I can have my disc in my case. At this point, I'm not gonna like sell or trade any other games off because, I mean, obviously I'd have way more games than this if I kept them. But I mean, I'm not gonna miss most of the games that I don't have. But from now on, I'm not, just in case, you know, just in case. Because like, I'm gonna have to pay like 50 bucks for just one game that I already have, and you know, I can't play it on hardware unless I, I mean, I gotta bring my 360 here into this room to play on a 4K monitor, which is gonna look horrible. But I mean, I do have this game emulated, so I mean, I don't really need to, but that's just if I wanted to play it on hardware. So anyway, that is gonna be it for this video. Like, subscribe, comment, and all that good stuff. Bye for now.